found it.
Yes.
We are now officially recording.
Well, it said I had to ask everyone's permission. So do y'all give me permission to record this meeting?
Speak now or forever hold your peace. Thank you, Mary. Well, Connie's not here and she could be joining us in any minute. What I'm going to do, because we are recording, thank you, Kim, for setting that up for us. Thank you, everyone, for your permissions. In fact, you will continue saying yes, all of you. That will record for us who's in attendance, and then Connie can go back and add it to her documents on her side. So there we go. Those will continue to record in the session that we're recording. Kim, are those coming up on your side?
They are. I'm going to put a link, though. Hold on.
Do you have it?
I do. Just a second.
Thank you. I'm going to jump out for just 1 second and come to my...
It should have looked like a bit.ly, but when y'all click on it, it'll take you to the right place. So
thank you. So are you putting it in the chat box?
It's in the chat box right now. If everyone will use that to record your attendance today, you will get credit for your time spent on this presentation.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure that in the recording, I'm going to go through the people right now, and this will show from the side. I'm going to call out the names so we have it verbally recorded too. I show Brittany Kendrick, Joe Schneider, Carmen Bocom. I'm sorry, Carmen, if I've hacked up your name. Kim Kent, Kim Morgan, Lisa Holt, Mary Anderson, Shelley Watanya, Smith, and Yolanda Gilliard. So super. They're like back in the classroom, call and roll. Brings back memories. So yeah, I'm going to give you all just a moment to go and fill out that link, if you will, that Kim has so graciously placed in the chat box. If you know how to get to the chat box at the top of your screen that you should be seeing now, you should see some little images with the number 11 that shows the number of folks we have in attendance. To the right of that, you should see sort of a speech bubble next to the time or between the time and the folks that are here today. If you'll click that, that's the chat box. Scroll back on your bar and see Kim has pasted in that link. Thank you. Now it's in a.
I did both of them, so you can copy and paste one, or you can click on the other.
Absolutely, that would be a great plan. So I'm going to give you all just a moment to do that, and we'll kick off in about 2 minutes. So looking at about 10:37, which will give me time to get the things I want to share out with you. Share it out because I'm going to drop that there as well. I'm here if anybody has any questions. Just pipe in, let me know.
Jody, how long is this training expected to last?
Well, it's set until 12, but I'm hoping to wrap up a little bit early. I've got to jump off and head out the door pretty soon after that. So really just depends. With just a few of us, we should be able to fit it in within a little over an hour. It just depends on Q&A at the end. But I can get the content in an hour, I would say, and then we'll from there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but keep in mind, it will be recorded. So if you're like me and you have to jump off for any reason, all of this information will be sent out to you after the session. That's always a good thing to know. I'll have that in your chat box here in just one moment, everyone. I'm running a little slow on my side. I'm assuming there's no questions about the sign-in that Connie has shared with us. Assuming we're there. Okay. I'm going to be dropping in sort of a resource and kind of an agenda that we're going to be following this morning. Here in a moment. Oops. I can get my bandwidth is really struggling to So hang tight with me in just a moment. Sorry, I'm working as fast as things will allow me on my side. Now we should be pretty good to go. Okay, now I can give it to you. Let me refresh this real quickly. Thanks for your patience. Sure that some of you are working, of course, from your schools or back at your sites. I, however, am working from home and still have a couple of kiddos at home with me. Our college son has not gone back yet, and our junior at Parkway starts tomorrow. And so you may hear some background noise. We've got some movement going around, but I'm not going to put on my headsets because I want you to be able to hear some of the things with the readers. If there's an issue with audio, please let me know. I'll be happy to adjust what I need to on my side, but we should be pretty good to go. Speaking of, if for some reason I drop off of the call, it could very well be that I'm a victim of Suddenlink, and I've got all of the I'm paying for the highest amount of speed I can get, but occasionally it drops me. If it does, hang tight, don't leave the session. I will switch over to my hotspot and log right back on. So please don't think that I'm gone forever. I will get back. It just may take me a second. I can always hotspot off of my phone. I have other options in place, but it does seem to run faster, preferably here on my Suddenlink, but just keep that in mind. Okay, so real quickly, I've dropped in for you a resource in the chat box that is a Google Doc that is going to force you to make a copy. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen real quickly so that you can see what you should be looking for. I know that some of you may not be working with dual monitors. So if you would like instructions on how to split your screen, I'll show you in a moment. That way you can sort of be viewing your screen and my screen. Right now, you should be seeing on the center of your screen that you're watching of my screen, which is the actual webinar itself. You should be seeing a box that says you're presenting to everyone and an option to stop presenting. And then once you click on the link, you won't be able to click on the link that you're seeing right now. You'll have to actually go back to your version of the webinar, the actual live login that you have. But from there, whoops, so sorry, folks. Don't know what happened there. It should take you to, let me see if I can get that to pull back up. Nope, let me try it again. It'll force you to make a copy, and basically the copy that you're going to be making is of a document that looks like this. Now mine says edit currently because I'm working in the edit side. You all should have a copy. Here we go. I think this is going to be it. Nope, that's not it. Well, let me just track back. So I'm gonna let you watch as I do, and you should be able to do. So click make a copy. When I make a copy, then now you should have this document. I'm sorry that I'm not sharing my camera this morning. Hashtag COVID hair and hashtag life. Feel free to, if you'd like to on your side, it's great. And you all know, as you're about to begin this virtual, some synchronous sessions like I'm doing now, it truly is preferable for both you and as the presenter, as the teacher, so to speak, and also the student to be able to have their cameras on. However, we know that we're not going to force kids to do that because they're not always control of their physical environments. And that's certainly something to consider. And at the same time, I want to extend that same offer to you all. But I will be jumping back over into the session to try to get some feedback from you all. So those of you who are okay, and I typically am okay with sharing my camera. And if you wanted to see my wet hair, I'd be happy to share my camera. I'm not vain. It's not very professional right now. Maybe once it dries, I'll pop it on. But nonetheless, it does help me to kind of track along with some of you and get some thumbs up or head nods or sorts of things as we're going through, because this is going to be sort of a blend of some sit and get and then also some hands-on. So when we get to the hands-on portion, oops, I see that you all are requesting access. Hold on, I did not set it up correctly. So let me go and do that. So sorry. It should be set up so that anyone with the link can view. I didn't do that. So let me click back into my drive. Here we go. To get that for you all. Let me make sure I've got copies of copies of copies of copies, and I need to make sure I'm getting the right one. Here we go. This is the one that I should be sharing with you, I'm thinking. Sorry about that. That way I don't have to monitor all the access. I see several of you have, but let me change that. You know, our
Jody.
yes, ma'am.
I also put the attendance link back in the form because we've had some new people join. I just wanted to say that out loud, that they can click on that link to log their attendance.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And you know what? I think I need to go back to my original that's here and double check that I have the share rights on it. Bear with me for just one moment if you don't mind, so that I can make sure that I get the share rights set for you all, so that you all don't have to see how many copies I have there. Let's see, I did this one now. I think this is the one I think I shared with you all. Sorry about that. While I'm getting these, if you're viewing from my side, then you can understand my pain point of how slow things are running on my end. Thanks for you. Let's see, I need to change this, but you all can see it. So one of the ways to avoid this would have been if I would have shared a PDF with you, then we wouldn't have had this issue, right? Let's see, Kim, can you try to access that again and see if it's going to force you to ask permission on that one? I want to make sure that I've, in fact, shared the right. Whoops.
So now it says I can make a copy, which is what you wanted it to do, correct?
Yeah, try to make a copy, and then, yeah, that's what it should do, because I've gone in and adjusted the share rights on it.
Thank you.
But you'll need to be considerate of that for your students as well. Those of you who are obviously working in classroom and sharing out information for them, need to make sure that in your docs and also in PDFs that you have set so that they have permission to, either edit if they're going to do some annotation on the PDF, or permission to view if you just want them to view. Default, and I'm not sure how Bossier has yours set up, but the default on mine is only people within my organization can view my documents. If I want anyone else to view them, so I have to go in and adjust that. So you may be safe because you may have it already set for Bossier Schools or your BossierStudents.org by default by your administrator, which I believe is Adam and Kyle there in Bossier. But you'll want to be sensitive to that issue in the classroom whenever you're sharing out documents, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, I think with no further ado, we can actually jump into content now. Now, hopefully you've all signed in, and through your Bossier link, which is up here that Kim shared out, either as a bit.ly copy and paste or a live link here to the form. Once you fill that out, your attendance will be registered there, and I called out those folks who are there. Let's see, Joe, are you able to get to it? Lisa, sorry, Mary, Lapanya, I'm seeing all of you there. And Carmen, I'm hoping that you all got it. Speak now, let me know if you didn't get it. Thank you, Lisa. So you should be able to get to that document, because that's what we're going to sort of run through. And as I pull that up for us all, I want to go ahead and tell you a little bit about me so that you'll understand why I'm presenting this today and how I can be a support from you going forward. So I am Jody Burr, and I am Text Help's Territory Director for Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. But more than that, I'm actually Bossier family, because I am a Bossier retired teacher. I retired the March before last, so a year before COVID. I worked with Bossier through the Louisiana Assistive Technology Initiative. That was a regional center that was funded through the State Department to support all things assistive technology in different parts of the state. There were formerly 7 regional centers, Now they've restructured and now they're known as the Louisiana AIM Center. I work hand in hand with them now in my role as a director with TextHelp. Prior to working with the Lottie Group, is what we affectionately call Louisiana Assistive Technology Initiative. I worked for 20 years in the Gen Ed inclusion classroom. I was part of the first team in Bossier to actually in the state for statewide inclusion focus, and was on the initial training teams that learned all about inclusion. And the year that we literally opened up the classrooms, the resource classrooms, and please excuse the verb I'm going to use here, but dumped the students straight into gen ed classrooms, that was me. And I use that term affectionately in a sense because I think back on those days and I shudder to think about the disservice I did to some of those very sensitive, diverse learners that I had who had never been in a gen ed classroom. And I'm going to be very honest with you, I didn't learn a thing in college about being a gen ed educator. I didn't learn a thing about how to accommodate students. So everything that I know now has been through, lots of blood, sweat, and tears. And the things, of course, that I did learn as part of that initial training group that we were involved in. But even at that time, we were sort of inventing the wheel as we were creating it, which I'm sure you all right now someday will sit back and tell of some similar stories related to virtual learning and the pandemic situation. I'm sure you can relate to how we've evolved the knowledge that we are looking for right now, and later on we'll have a better understanding of. But I want you to know that because I learned very on that assistive technology tools are the best friend of the gen ed teacher and of the student in the classroom, because once the SPED teacher and the para left my classroom, I was left to accommodate these kiddos. And so I had to be very creative in my very early days with back then, very low tech. I mean, this is back again, 30 years ago, very low tech supports of how to accommodate my students. And now have gotten very passionate through the years about not just assistive technology, but about accessibility for all learners. And so that's super important because that's what we're going to be looking at today. And in fact, that's where we are with our digital learning environment right now with virtual learning, because we know that there's a variety of different ways that we're expected now to accommodate our learners, whether they're directly in front of us in a classroom setting, whether they are across the parish from us sitting in front of a computer like we all are now, sitting in their homes, or whether they have a hybrid approach of both of those. We know that we, no matter what, have to be prepared for all of those scenarios. And so that's exactly where Snapverter and the PDF reader that we're going to be looking at today are going to become some of your very best friends, because they're going to solve a lot of pain points that you saw early on in March when you were trying to put out this content. And especially now, as we know, we've stepped up the expectations for student performance. It's no longer just, hey, log on if you want to. Now students are expected to. You as instructors are expected to put out the material for the teachers or for the students. And more so over, we know we're expected to make sure that it's in accessible formats, okay? And we'll talk more about that as we go forward. So all of that to say, at the very bottom of this document that I have up for you, you will see my email address as well as my cell phone number. That's my personal cell phone number. It's the same cell phone number my kids and my friends text me on. I want you to feel comfortable at any time. And I mean this. I mean, I'm an educator at heart. I don't work 7 to 3 like, you all don't work 7 to 3. I do not mind if you text me on the weekends, evenings. I'm literally here to help. I'll say that over and over again. Our company is called TextHelp. We are text helpers, and we truly are here to help. It's my favorite thing to do is to help you all as teachers. It keeps me, keeps a foot in the classroom. And so don't hesitate at any time to reach out to me and ask for help. I did a session on this yesterday and spent an hour or so last night on a side meet with one of the participants, and we had a conversation about every bit of this. And I'll tell you, that participant happened to be my sister who teaches at Green Acres, but nonetheless, I was able to help her solve the pain points that, she was seeing and the things that she was trying to do in prepping for her kids on Thursday who will be in front of her. I'm sorry, she's no longer at Green Acres. I just remembered she's now at the New Benton Intermediate School. I've got to get used to that. However, nonetheless, I want you to know I'm here to help you. And so having said that, you're not expected at the end of this hour and a half time frame together to be an expert and know all of this. From the level that I'm showing you, that we're starting off as sort of a sit and get, there are going to be times that you go, oh my gosh, she's just clicked in a million different places. I'm so confused. What did she just do? But I can promise you that by the time we go through this session today, I'm going to give you enough resources. I'm going to share with you places that you can go on your own if you're an independent learner and you would rather dive into this and try to figure it out yourself. You're going to have the opportunity to play around with the tools, ask questions. I want you to feel comfortable enough to know that even if you don't know everything, you have resources to go and find the information that you need. Truly, the process we're going through is really pretty simple. And once you do it a couple of times, I can tell you after doing it with my sister last night, who I will tell you is not the most tech savvy person in the world. In fact, my 3-year-old grandson was sitting by my side and he was laughing. So when I would say, okay, do you see this? And I'm trying to explain it to her, he was saying, I see it, JoJo. So if my 3-year-old grandson can get it, I promise you that you can get some of it too. So we're going to get you there, I promise. Without any further ado, let's go back and kind of take a look at here without reading all of this to you. So here's the point. The tool that students have been provided in Bossier to help them with accessibility is called Read and Write. And so you should see that little logo at the top of our page here. It's iconically the purple puzzle piece. Read and Write is a literacy support tool that works all throughout your Google environment as well as web and PDF reading, okay? So what it is, if you're looking at my screen now, is it's this very basic literacy support toolbar that helps students to be able to read and comprehend the text and gives them supports as they go along. Supports that might be a colored overlay that give a line reader that you see here now that I'm working with. Supports such as being able to pick up a word in my document or on the web or in a PDF that I might need support, such as pulling up a dictionary and having
a sheet of paper with multiple columns,
such as picking up a picture dictionary that helps me to make meaning, a widget symbol that helps me to make meaning of that word, maybe even a translator that translates the word into another language, okay? These are all support tools that your students currently have in their Google accounts, accessible to them in all places. As soon as I opened up this Google Doc, my toolbar opened up right here for me. Those of you who may not already know about Read and Write and have Read and Write will be surprised that when you start meeting with your kids and talking with your kids, they're going to be like, yeah, we knew that's there. In fact, it's been there for a number of years. Bossier's had a subscription to Read and Write, okay? Read and Write is what you're going to use to interact with the PDFs that you're sending out to your students. Because we know when we went to virtual learning environments, one of the things that teachers did is they rushed out, and I totally get it, scanned in, pulled up PDFs and sent them out as worksheets for students to work on their side. But the problem was, how do we allow students to, number one, access the worksheet? And we'll talk in a minute what that's about. And number two, how do we allow them to actually annotate and write on the worksheet to show us their work? And I've monitored all summer long, and it's been really fun to see some of the very creative ways that folks are doing this. I'm seeing lots of folks going out and screenshotting, snipping bits of information, putting them into Google Slides, and allowing students to come in and do a text box over the content. And that's a great creative way to do it. But man, oh man, the amount of time it takes for teachers to create these converted slideshows. And you know, the difficulty it takes for students to be able to add this information. I commend you all for looking for ways to do this, but we have a much easier way to do all of this, and that's through Snapverter and the PDF reader. So that's what we're going to look at today. Now, what I want you to understand is that not all PDFs are created equally, okay? A PDF is a format that is created in the digital environments by, again, either scanning a worksheet or a paper in. Maybe it's a trade book or a textbook or something like that, a handout or book pages, whatever, any sort of printed material being scanned through a device. So whether that's a flatbed scanner, whether that's a high volume scanner, some of your schools have, I think all of the schools now have the ScanSnap scanners that will multi-page scan. They're pretty awesome. We also can use some of the copy machines and the copy rooms and the printing machines that will allow scanning and saving as a PDF file. So what that basically does is it creates a copy, so to speak, but more so over what it creates is a picture. Just as if I went into my copy room, or I went in right now to my flatbed scanner and placed my hand down on that glass tray and I created a scan, it's going to make a copy. It's going to make a photograph of my hand. Okay, so that becomes then an image. A PDF is an image-based file. The computer sees it as a picture instead of seeing it as text like we know we put into a doc, okay? You saw me very easily come in, highlight this text, push this simple play button,
Snapverter is an easy-to-use
and
add-on.
have it read aloud, okay? So that's text that this toolbar, read and write toolbar, can read. That's called text-to-speech. So it's reading that text aloud. So when a student is at home learning or is in the classroom learning and they don't necessarily, number one, they can't get your attention. Number two, you might not be able to be as close to them because of social distancing. But when a student is doing that learning and needs you, they have the ability, or needs support, I should say, they have an ability to independently have this text read aloud, right? It's text to speech. But take a look at this little image here, this Snapverter image. This is a picture that I added into. It's actually the logo for Snapverter, just as this is our logo for Read and Write and our logo for Text Help, and here's our logo for Bossier Parish School Board, right? Someone designed this picture by typing in text, okay, and then saving it as a picture, and then that picture was uploaded into this document. So the problem is text-to-speech readers don't know how to read text within a picture because it sees it as a picture, any more so than if I had my name written on my hand and I took a picture of my hand, the text-to-speech reader wouldn't know how to read my name because it still sees it as a picture. Make sense? In a sense, I know this is there's a reason I'm explaining all this to you, because there may be some times when you go to use the PDF reader for your students to be able to interact with the PDF that you share out with them. If it is not a text-based image, it will not be able to be read and be able to be interacted with for that student. So what you have to know to do is to be able to do a conversion of that file. And that's where Snapverter comes in. Snapverter is the tool that actually converts that file to a readable document, okay? So the sort of analogy here is, if I were to build a building that was elevated in a sense, and I needed to allow access to that building, most of my students would be able to climb up the stairs and get right in, right? They would be fine. They'd come in the building. They'd be okay. But some of my diverse students might not be able to climb those stairs for a number of reasons. Maybe they're in a wheelchair. Maybe they're carrying a heavy load. Maybe they have a broken leg at that time, or maybe they have a permanent disability. Whatever it is that's impeding their access into that building, it's my job to accommodate, because the Americans with Disabilities Act back in the 60s said we can't build buildings and not make them accessible. We have to make sure that we allow a way for students to get in, or individuals to access physical spaces, right? So that brings us to universal design for learning, or universal design overall. So universal design says that, hey, if we build a building, we better put a ramp on it no matter what. Maybe we don't serve individuals with disabilities, but what if someone shows up and they have a disability? We got to find a way to allow them to get into the building, okay? So that ramp is a likeness to Snapverter. Snapverter is almost like having your own little portable ramp to take with you to access in the digital world for PDFs, okay? Snapverter is a new tool for Bossier. They just added it this summer. you are the second set of folks to actually learn about it in a professional development format. I'm going to touch just a little bit on read and write for the PDF reader side, just as much as you saw me just do here. But this is not necessarily a PDF reader training. It's more of a Snapverter training. So in that, I want you to understand the process for Snapverter and why we need to use it, and then what we do with it, okay? You're not going to have to use it every single time you work with a PDF. Some PDFs are already accessible by design. They're made accessible by design through a process called OCR, okay? OCR is optical character recognition. And what that simply means is that it's optical. I can see it, right? Character is the letters or the text, and recognition means it can recognize it. So what it does is it takes the inaccessible text that's embedded in that image and it converts it to a readable format, okay? So we're gonna demo that, and we're gonna work with that here in just a minute. I'm just kind of working you through now. We're kind of on this third little paragraph here as I'm discussing all of this. All Bossier schools, students and staff have access to Snapverter. That means you can work with an unlimited number of scans for every student and teacher. So the great part is you as the teacher, you truly are responsible for creating accessible content, okay? Now, the gen ed teacher, we know really realistically, the gen ed teacher's role is to create the content. The SPED teacher's role, when we're talking lawfulness here and how it relates to FERPA and FAPE for students, we know that we have to make sure that the SPED teacher makes sure that the content is accessible. And then further, we've given the ability for all students to be able to convert their own materials, which then takes off the heavy load of us all having to do this. So if something slips through the cracks and it's not accessible, the students have the same ability, just as you do, to be able to make it accessible. And we'll show you how to do that. So that's good to know. There's also a great Snapverter mobile app that students can use. It's an awesome way. I use it myself sometimes when I go to restaurants and don't have my readers. I'll take a picture, click the button, and it'll read the menu to me. So it's a great way to be able to use it on the fly. Here in the center of the page, all of these links that you see here are ways to go out and learn more, okay? We're going to go through each one of these pieces and discover more, but this is where it's going to maybe look like I'm getting really click happy, but you'll be able to come back and there's some step-by-step instructions for you to be able to look at these, not only step-by-step PDFs, but also videos that show the process. So if you're a video learner and you want to try this on your own, it's just like having me right there in front of you showing you how to do this, okay? And then we've got some documents at the bottom of the page that we're going to work with and playing around with. I'm going to start with showing you a couple of things that I need you to first look at my computer for, and then open a tab on your computer and look at your computer for, okay? So a couple of things that we have to get started with the demo piece of this for you all to do the interactive piece is looking at my screen here. This is my extensions ribbon. These are where all my extensions live that I can either turn on or off and I can have quick access to. There's 3 that you need in your accounts. The first one is this purple puzzle piece that says with the RW, this is read and write tool itself. You will need the read and write tool to interact with the PDFs. For your students to interact with them, they'll need it, and you'll need it to view what they've done. You also will need this little picture here that says PDF Reader. It's actually a symbol of, let me do this real quickly because I'll put them all side by side. Let me turn this off. If I can unpin it, then you won't have to see it. So it's these 3 purple right here together. The PDF Reader is what this is called. And then finally, you'll need this little guy, which is our screenshot reader. And he is our little text helper logo. All 3 of these are extensions that can be found on the Chrome store. I want you to go now to open a new tab, the plus sign, or you can go back to your other tabs. Like I can go through any of my tabs that I have here, and I'm still always going to see my Chrome bar. I want you to go look at your Chrome extensions bar, and I want you to see if you have those 3 icons. If you do not, please go into your text box now and tell me, okay? If you can say I have it, you can say I don't have it. I can monitor it either way. So that would be great to confirm if you do have it. I'm watching here. I see we have about 13 of us, but it looks like we only have 3 or 4 who might be actively participating. I know sometimes folks come into this and just wait for the recorded version. But if we all have it, then I don't have to go and show you how to get it. Okay, you only have read and write. Okay. I have all 3. Super. All right. Thanks for letting me know. If anybody needs any help in me telling you how to go and find it, let me know. I'll be happy to talk with you about how to go and do that. That's what I was going to do here if we don't have to. I'm assuming, Mary, I see GRW, so I'm assuming is that Google Read and Write? Okay, Kim, you can't find any of them. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Keep letting me know, everyone. If you're following me, that's fine, but I'm about to put this in the chat box so you can all see it. Going to drop in a link that's going to take you to the Chrome store to add the extensions that you need. Now, Bozier force installed these to students. So students do not have to do this, okay? Bozier did not force install it to teachers, which I don't have any control over that. That's a Bozier decision, okay? But there's 3 extensions that you'll need, and they all are found on the Chrome store. Here's the link. If you don't have them, or if, excuse me, I'm gonna drag my chair for a minute. If you are missing any one of them, then follow this link to this store, to the Chrome store. If you're watching on my side, I'm going to show you here. Once you come to this link, whoops, sorry folks, didn't mean to do that. You have 3 choices. You either have the choice, 2 choices, either add to Chrome or rate it. If yours says rate it, you already have it. If yours says add to Chrome, go ahead and click add to Chrome. It will prompt you to link data, sync data, accept permissions. It's a one-time and done deal. Everyone else who already has it, if you have it, please hang tight with us for just a moment so we can get these folks up and going. If you have friends who, you're going to share this information out with, I'm happy to provide this link to the Chrome store to get all 3 of these. I'll tell you a little insider tip here, and I don't know why, but it's a Chrome store issue. If I type in read and write for Google Chrome, I won't get all 3 of these. The only way to get the 3 that I need is to just type in read and write, okay? And I have to be careful on how I type that read and write. No spaces, no word and, just read, ampersand, write, and there you have the tools that you'll need to install all 3 of these. Okay, so how are we doing? We getting these in? As you're adding them, you should begin to see them drop into your extensions bar here. Some of you may find that, oh, it says rate it, so that means I have it. I can't add it to Chrome. Maybe you just don't have it pinned on your taskbar, and you don't have to, your extensions bar. If you'll come to this gray puzzle piece, I know it's a little bit confusing, click the gray puzzle piece, then you can pin this to your taskbar or turn it off. You don't have to have it saved there. Mine kind of varies what I have saved there. You still will have access to it. You just don't have it pinned there on your taskbar, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna let you all work on trying to get those extensions added. And now I'm going to drop in real quickly let me go grab it real quick, another link that I want everyone to follow me to so we can get Snapverter in our account. Sorry, hold on just one second. Okay. Copy it here. That should have added those. The third one, I see, Kim, you're asking, it should be read and write. For Google Chrome, you should have the PDF reader and the screenshot reader. Screenshot might be the third one that you're looking for there. Okay. So now I want those of you who are ready to go pick up, whoops, let me try this again. I didn't put this link. Why is it not linking? I guess you'll have to copy and paste it. I don't know why it's not setting it up as a link, but I know why it did because I put a space there. Let's try this again. Now it should be a link. Hold on. 3rd time's a charm. You can copy and paste it. Basically, it's snapverter.texthelp.com. And if you'll follow me to that link, www, which that should come up by default, snapverter.texthelp.com. It's going to take you to our Snapverter. Whoa, come on. Let me see what I did wrong. I might need to drop it in again. Let's see what's going on. Hold up. Let me make sure I copied the link right. Sorry, folks. Let me just click it here and I'll put it in again. There we go. I did have it in there wrong. Let me try it again. Disregard the first 3 attempts. Let's go. Whoops. 4th time's a charm, right? There we go. Now you can get to it. It's going to take you to your Snapverter dashboard. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to add some folders into your drive that are going to do the Snapverter work that needs to be done. Now, the things that we're doing now only need to be done on the teacher's side. The bad news is it takes us a couple of steps to get there, but the good news is this is already done for the students. Again, Bossier has chosen to push out to students, but not teachers. And I think that there's a reason why. Nonetheless, I brought to Connie's attention the importance that this be done. Right now, I can tell you that it's not pushed out to students currently. And I can tell you because I've checked my own daughter's account. However, Connie is fast tracking this and hoping that it's going to be done ASAP. So I'm hoping that she'll let everyone know once it's done and she gets the communication out to your administrators to let you all know that things are in place, okay? Speaking of, I'm trying to give everyone chances here to get caught up. Those of you who are downloading or installing the extensions and those of you who are trying to get to the dashboard. Speaking of, everything that I'm doing now, I want you all to know that you can go back and share with your administrators. And if you all would like for me to share this information out through a webinar such as this, or if once we're back face-to-face, if I'm able to come on campuses and share faculty meetings, PLCs, those sorts of things, all for the asking, totally for free, I'll be glad to do so. Again, my favorite thing to do to stay 1 foot in the classroom with you all in the trenches, so to speak, right? Okay, so let's take a look for just a moment at this dashboard that you probably have navigated to. You really probably will never come to this dashboard again, to be honest with you. It's just where we have to go to activate our Snapverter folders. Every teacher who has an account has to actually go here. It recognizes your login. Please make sure that you're logged in to your BossierSchools.org account, okay? It can't be your personal account. And then you should see license type full because we recognize that BossierSchools.org is going to be a full license type. What this will do once you've gone here, you can now watch me first and then I'll let you go. You're going to open a new tab. I just went back to a tab that I had open and go to your drive and type in the word Snapverter. And you should see a Snapverter folder that looks like this inside. It has some subfolders. So let me tell you what we did. We opened a new tab. We searched in our drive. We went to our drive. We searched in our drive for Snapverter, and we should see 4 folders. The first one says drop here to convert, failed, finished, and in progress, okay? We'll talk about those in a minute, but I'm going to come back over to the webinar and monitor the chat box for just a minute. Please let me know if you see all 4 of those folders in your drive, yes or no. You will only see them if you went to the snapverter.texthelp.com. Yes, yes, yes. Good. Love seeing those. Y'all are quick learners. Excellent. Thank you. I think y'all are about my 4 who are following along with me here. Okay. So let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Lisa, Mary, did you all see? I got Lisa, Mary. Let's see if you'll let me know if you can find them, and I think we can move on from there. Excuse me. Okay. Yay, good. Mary has them there. Okay, this is what does the work. Okay, this I'm gonna go ahead and go out of this because we're done with these. Snapverter folder is what does the work. We really won't work in the Snap folder very often. But what I want you to know is the process. If you think of this as sort of like I think about the function tables and flow charts in a sense. And let me see if I can do something quickly. Yeah, it's not gonna let me. Okay, that's right, because I have mine set to default by alphabet. Okay, nonetheless, I was gonna move these around. But if this were a function table and a flow chart, I would drop a PDF in here if I needed to convert it to OCR so that it's readable and accessible, right? It's going to do a couple of things. It's going to be in progress and it's going to be working on the backside converting. And when it converts, it's either going to fail, we don't want it to do that, or it's going to finish. And when it finishes, we're going to have a beautiful, clean, OCR'd, converted PDF ready to work, okay? As you can see in my finished folder, if you're watching now in mine, yours will all be empty. I have lots of PDFs that I have converted. I could clean them out. When I convert them, it keeps them in my original folder, but then it also places them here. So even if I deleted them out of this folder, it would keep them in my original. But I'm not good about cleaning out my folders, so excuse my messy folders, but I like to keep some of these here because I work on them for demos, okay? So basically the concept is this. When I am opening or sharing with students through the classroom a PDF that I want them to work on, or a worksheet, so to speak, what will happen is, I'm going to come back to our Snapverter page. One of two things will happen. I'm going to scroll to the bottom, watch for just a moment because I'm going to tell you how to get back over here. If I open up a PDF that is accessible, okay, I click on the PDF to open it. Watch for just a moment. I'm opening this from a link. I could have opened it in my drive. I'll show you that in a minute. But when I go to open it, I should be given the option to open with. Hold tight because I'm going to let you do this in a minute. Watch for just a moment because if not, it's going to kind of throw you off. Notice how that goes away after a second if I don't touch it. We'll let it go away for just a moment. That white bar at the top. Well, of course, it's not going to go away. But nonetheless, if it goes away, I can just mouse and it'll come back on. Open with. The trick, and I'm going to say this over and over again, and you're going to have to teach your kids over and over again, but it's so simple. Click to open it, right? One click to open it. And then we open with read and write for Google Chrome, because that's going to pull up the Chrome tool, or excuse me, the Google or the read and write tools that you need to work with. So when I open with read and write, I'm going to be able to interact with this PDF because it is accessible. So here's my tools that I saw on my read and write toolbar when I was working in my doc. Okay, there's the tools, right? Those are the doc tools. Here's my tools for working on the PDF. Whoops, hold on. Here they are. Okay. Here's the tools that look very, very similar, right? I have my dictionary, my picture dictionary. Here's my reader. There's my translator. I can do some highlighters. I can do a vocabulary list. I can do screen mask that you saw me do. But the new pieces that I'm going to do here are a typewriter, a push pin, a freehand draw, or a shape straw. These are the tools we're going to focus on in the PDF version for annotation. This is what happens when I get an accessible PDF, okay? Nice and clear, clean, I can work on it. Let's see what happens when I get an inaccessible PDF. And back on my resource page that I shared with you, you're gonna do it in a moment, okay? I promise you are. When I go to open an inaccessible PDF, such as this one, and I go click to open it, and then I open with read and write for Google Chrome, okay? Watch what happens. I already know this one's inaccessible, but here's how you'll know if it's inaccessible. As it begins to open, toolbar came up, but aha, I got this black ribbon here that says, we can't find any text in this document. It may not have been converted using OCR. That's simple. You see this, all you have to do is click here to convert it. That's all you have to do. If a student sees this because the teacher forgot to convert it, all the student has to do is click here and it automatically converts it, okay? It's that simple, okay? The two main steps to remember. Number one, open with read and write for Google Chrome. Number 2, click here if it's not been converted, okay? So I want you now to go to your resource page that you have. Whoops, let me go back to this one. You should have kept that open and it should be open in your new tab, okay? It's your Snapverter at Bossier Schools Google Doc. And I want you to try to open the inaccessible one. So all you're going to do is click on the link, click on, notice it says there, oh, it's an image. But look at this one. When I do it, it says it's a PDF. It kind of lets me know, okay? Excuse me. And I want you to open with Read and Write for Google Chrome so that you now see, whoops, let me get to it, this black line, okay? Once you get the black line and you click it, you should get a feedback that says, nice work. Be sure to check your Snapverter finished folder for your
Jody, I lost your sound. I don't know if anyone else did. Jody, we can't hear you if you're still talking. So guys, we're just going to wait here for a second. She said if she lost us that she would just pop right back into the meeting after she switched her Wi-Fi. So we'll just wait. I have tried calling Jody, and now I've sent her a text to the message she has in this document. So we'll see if she responds. Let's just give her another couple minutes. Oh, hey, Jody.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was trying feverishly. I'm here. Okay, sorry about that. Let me pick right back up. I'm sure you were still recording, Kim.
I did not stop the recording. I'm sorry.
Okay, very good. No, I'm glad you did. I can just go back and splice it back together once before we send it out. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I was trying feverishly to get back to you. Okay, so what we were talking about was you all clicked that link and you should have been able to check your finished folder. Where I wanted to get feedback from you all is because we shared that copy originally, I'm not sure that you all had your own, because I didn't send it through Classroom. Classroom will allow you to make a copy for everybody, but I'm afraid that once the first person converted this, the others might not have been given access to do so. So my question for you is, when you checked your Snapverter folder in your finished portion, did you see your document converted? So if anybody can give me feedback on that, that would be great. I'm looking in the chat box now to see. Yes, you do see it. Okay, good deal. So y'all have it. Okay. Finished folder, however, it was not immediate. Okay, so yours might have been, Kim, been in the in progress folder. Okay, super. So y'all, that's it. So then what you would do is when you link from Google Classroom into the resource that you're sharing out, you would simply pick it up and navigate it through your original folder, because here's the deal. Once it's already, or once converted, it's always converted. So it's not like everyone individually has to convert their own unless you've done something like this. Whenever I put that link in, if that link had been to an already converted copy, you wouldn't have had to do that, which is what you'll do for your students, right? But the nice thing is if something slips by and you forget to convert it, and that's going to happen from time to time, the students have the ability to simply click that button, it converts it. And the only extra step right now that, again, we're looking to eliminate is them having to go back to that finished folder to find it, to pull it back up. But once they find it there, and I'm hoping that you all are still there, then all they have to do, and we know the trick of the trade over and over again, let me see if I can find it, is, hold on one second. Thought I had it in mind. Here we go. Is simply, you can right click on it if that's the way you like to open things, and navigate to open with read and write for Google Chrome here. I tend to be just a double clicker to open it. And same thing here, open with read and write for Google Chrome. So if you've not done that, please navigate back to your finished folder and open with Google Chrome. Or if you didn't convert yours and you just want to open one, what I really want you to do is have one that's open. Let me get rid of this real quickly. Have one that's open that is accessible. So if you opened this one, the main idea, that's fine too. Just so that we have something to work around with that you can interact. Yes.
Jody, do you mind sharing your screen again, please?
Yes, thank you for reminding me to do that. I should have known to do that. Thank you, Kim. Okay. Now you should see my screen. So the point is, we want to have an accessible document up in front of us to be able to work with, okay? Now, I started with this one, this environmental ethics and weak anthropocentrism piece. Excuse my, did I tell you all I'm fifth grade proficient? I taught everything from second to fifth grade. I don't think I won't attempt that word again, but it's not a fifth grade word. But nonetheless, what if I need some help with it? Well, I've got read and write to help me, right? Number one, what if I need it read aloud? Because I didn't do such a good job of reading that aloud. I can click on that word and click the play button.
Centrism.
Thank you. Now I can pronounce that word, okay? But what if I don't know what that word is? Then I could call up a dictionary. I'm not sure this is a dictionary word, but let's just see. Oh, sure does.
An inclination to evaluate reality exclusively in terms of human values.
I still need some help. So I'm just going to take a stab and see if by chance there's a picture. No, unfortunately, there's not a picture for this word. We resource out to a company called Widgets that gives us their widget symbols that match with dictionary definitions, and this is not one. And you'll find some sometimes, especially if it's a unique word such as this. However, what if I maybe needed some help with environmental? I bet I could find that. So watch what happens with my dictionary. It automatically moves. Oh, okay. Environmental is something to do with, my surroundings outside. It looks like I can make meaning of, and then I can get the dictionary definition read if I need it. Okay. Well, what if I'm reading along and I come to this word belief? I click it, it automatically moves over and gives me the support distinctively. Not sure that we'll find one there. Typically words with inflected endings such as ly, like adjectives and adverbs that might, like est, er, those sorts of things sometimes don't come up as a symbol, but nonetheless, I can click through and get some support. Okay. And I want you to notice the poor quality copy of this worksheet, ditto sheet. I can see this being run through a purple, what were those called? I don't think they were Mimeos, but a purple worksheet maker. That takes me way back in time, 30 years ago, when we all would walk around with purple on our hands from making our dittos. Young teachers, I'm sure I'm blowing your mind, but I bet you remember smelling them in class, that wet feeling of them. But nonetheless, now that I've appealed to your senses on trying to go back to the early days and remembering these, you can see that this is a poor quality copy, right? So the concept is that even in the poorest of qualities, I still can get some reading here. Now, I highly doubt my text-to-speech reader is going to recognize this handwriting in the columns. Let's see, it tried to find something here. Let's see that purple highlight? That's going to let me know it'll read. Yeah, it doesn't see that quite away, but you can understand that it's doing a pretty good attempt at trying to read and comprehend this information that's here. Okay. Well, what if I was working on, aside from just the reading tools of read and write, what if I was going to try to work on an interactive worksheet such as this one, the main idea, where I actually need to do some work in this passage that's here. Okay. Watch for just a moment, and I'm going to have you go here in just a minute. I have my same abilities to do my reading. Okay. As I read through, it can either read word, or I can set it up to highlight the entire passage to read this aloud.
Each passage and ask yourself.
And just so you know, from a instructor side for read and write, when you set this up through Google Classroom, you can sort of zone edit this so that if you want the directions read aloud for the student and supported, that you turn those on, but that you can block out, like this is sort of a reading passage that I expect my students to read and comprehend, so I might not want them to have reading support tools here. You have the ability to be able to do that on the teacher side of your data desk for part of your read and write. That's a whole nother discussion, but we can talk about that too. Okay. But the point is that after I've read through this passage, A Penny for Your Thoughts, and I go through it, then I'm going to be answering the question, what is the author doing in this paragraph? And I'm going to summarize this for the main idea. So I need to actually do some writing. Oh, first thing I need to do is I need to add my name. So I'm going to come up, and I promise I'm going to let you do this in just a moment. I'm going to open my typewriter by underlining this T in purple. Notice when I mouse over the icons, it pops up and lets me know what they are. I'm going to click here where I want to type, and I'm going to type in my name. Sorry, you can't see that box at the top, but I can simply type in my name. Or I could use my other tools that are here. I can go back and have my name read to me, so that I'm sure that what I typed is what I wanted to type. I also can move this text box around, place it where I want it to go. I can increase the size of my text. I can decrease the size of my text. I can change the color of my text. I also have the ability in this text box to do some speech to text, and I'm going to show you in word prediction here in just a moment. When I'm happy with where it is, I can click the checkbox and it drops it right there. Okay. Now, when I go further down into my passage, I still have my typewriter turned on. I can turn it off, and then I won't get this pop-up. I don't want this here, so I can click the trash can. But if I want to type in this where I'm summarizing the passage further down, click the typewriter, click where I want it to go, and I can do a couple of different things. Again, I can type. I can use word prediction. Okay, so I would start with THI, this. And it's text-to-speech supported because it's reading it back to me. So if I get to passage and I'm having trouble with it, this No.
Passage.
Oh, I want passage.
Passion.
Yeah, I want passage.
Passage.
So I can add in the text to speech, or excuse me, the word prediction feature that's here. Or I have the ability to do talk and type. Talk and type is awesome for speech to text. You know, those kids who have the concept, they know it in their head and they just can't get it down on paper. Now, these are kids who either have a disability and use this as an accommodation, or the idea here is to use this in areas where the student has already demonstrated to me the ability to do their writing. And here, for proficiency and efficiency, I'm going to allow them to use talk and type, just like I do right now with my emails, to be able to annotate, in a sense, or dictate, I should say, this content in. So here we go. As soon as I click the microphone or click the little headset here, my microphone is going to be activated and I can talk and type. So here we go. Is about a young girl who found a penny on the railroad tracks and she was trying to give it to her brother. That was terrible because I don't have a clue what this passage is about. And that's not a very good summary. Nonetheless, my content is here, okay? I can expand my text box that I wanted to tell about. Looks a little big in size. I'm going to reduce the size so it fits there. Oh, this is my writing, and I see I didn't add a capital letter. I can go back and do that. I can add my punctuation. And best practice, I'm always going to go back and listen to this being read back to me.
Passage is about
so that in my editing, I'm reading because our brains, when we edit our own work, we read what we meant to say instead of what we said. So this is a great tool to do self-editing in this toolbar that I'm working with here for read and write, okay? So for annotations and dictations, I can, again, type it in, word predict it in, or I can simply speak to text it in through talk and type, okay? So this is where I actually want you to play with the tools. I don't mind if you have this. It doesn't matter to me if you have the main idea one up. It doesn't matter to me if you have the copy that we had up here. Oop, that's the not converted one. But when we go to the converted file, let me see if I can find that. Hold on, I've got it somewhere. There we go. Well, that one's not converted either. I promise I have it somewhere. But in any one of those, I think it's here. Here we go. What I want you to play with here is your typewriter tool. That's the main thing. These other pieces are part of read and write that I can get to you and help you with if you're not well versed with read and write, because they're great support tools. But for PDF interactivity, it's going to be the typewriter here that I want you to play with, okay? So I'm going to send you all over now to your document. I'm going to come back and take a look at the screen. And I want you to go and I'm looking back at the notes now. I think we got that clarified. Sorry, Mary, about that. But go and pull yours up now and do some typewriter annotations. Now I'm going to stop talking for a minute because you know what's going to happen? When you get to talk and type, it's going to pick my voice up if you're listening to me on a speaker. So I'm going to give you just a minute, about 11:43, about 2 minutes to do that. Feel free to ask questions in the chat box or turn off your microphones if that's easier. To ask questions, I'll be glad to help. I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm assuming we're doing just fine there. I want to show you a couple more things, and then we'll wrap up in the next couple of minutes, as I told you that we were going to do, hopefully a little bit early. We go back to my passage that I was working on here. Oh, let's see. Here we go. We got Smith here. I'm not sure. Must have changed that out. I'm not sure what I did there, but nonetheless, I don't know if some of you are working on the same passage with me. Yeah, maybe we are. So that's okay. We're working on a collaborative one together, which reminds us of the importance of us having to force a copy to our students in the classroom, right? Okay, the push pin feature is pretty cool. What it will allow you to do, I'm going to turn my typewriter off, turn off that purple underline. The push pin feature allows me to sort of give an extra set of instructions, so to speak. So whoever's working, do you see that collaborative Smith went away? That's okay. You can put it back. It's okay. We're all working on the same document. Not an issue. I just didn't force a copy here. So what pushpin will do is allow me to drop in. So let's say that I needed to give more information. It wouldn't fit in the box here. Okay. Or maybe as the teacher, I want to give more of an explanation of main idea. So I can just drop that pushpin here. And so I can remind my students, the main idea of a passage is the overall idea that the author is trying to express in his writing. And so this will give the students a little bit more instruction, or if the student needs to give you some more information on your side, instead of all of that clouding up the page, you can simply click on the push pin, and students who might need some support.
The idea of a passage is the overall idea that the author is trying to express in his writing.
To get more help. Or maybe the student needs to say to you, hey, Miss Smith, I blah, 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 you know, or this is how I derived at the answer, whatever it is that they want to share there with you. So let me turn off the push pin, and I need to come and get this one and delete it. I always have to remember to go back to my toolbar and turn that off, because I click again and lo and behold, it's there. That's the push pin. Another couple to see, and I'm going to let you play with these, is the freehand draw. Freehand draw is pretty cool for being able to write. I do a much better job of writing in cursive with freehand draw. Now I just have the laptop pad as my mouse, but stylus and traditional mice tend to work a little bit better for freehand draw. I'm in control of the line thickness and the color. I can also go through and erase parts of my beautiful handwriting that's there. And then I have the ability in shapes draw to either draw an underline, a circle, or a square. And again, I can control the color and the line thickness. Maybe in this passage, my teacher told me to go through and underline the key details that helped me to arrive at my main idea. Don't we do that lots of time? And of course, we know it's not going to match up, but I can just come through and do some underlines here. Or maybe my teacher wants me to circle the, you know, something that has to do with the setting. Now, I mean, we're not really in control of the circles so much. To me, the circles are, I wish they would let us to do more, allow us to do more ovals, but that might be something we can ask for. But if I did the rectangles, whoops, let's try this, drop in the rectangle. Those work well for isolating information. And when I come back, I have the ability to actually move them around with my crosshairs here. So maybe I wanted to put a rectangle around, you know, copper penny. Then I have the ability to do that here. Okay. You can play around with these. This is really one of those tools that's kind of hard for me to describe to you unless you actually play around and do it yourself. And like that line thickness to me is a little bit much, so I would want to bring that down. I increase the size of my line sort of thing and play around there with these further annotation tools besides just your typewriter. So just a few minutes to work with these, and then we're about to wrap up. I'm sorry I've gone a little bit longer. I think that stall of getting kicked out might have impeded our flow just a little bit. But I want you to play with these pieces of annotation tools yourselves real quickly. While you're doing that, what I want to tell you is that once a student finishes their work, okay, all they have to do is close out of it. They don't have to save it. We know that's the beauty of Google. It saves everything that's there. For you as the teacher to see the annotations that the student has completed, remember we forced a copy on our original document. I know we didn't on this one. So if anybody's working on this, feel free to. It's okay. In fact, I kind of like seeing some of your work that's there. We're working collaboratively because it's a shared piece. But in order for you as the teacher, the student then takes it, saves it in their drive. They go back to their stream right in the classroom. They submit the assignment to you that they've completed. In order for you to see what the student has completed or the teacher to see it, then the teacher too has to open with read and write. And when you do that, you'll be able to see the student's completed work. And I'll show you an example of that. If I go back to my finished folder, I have some pieces that I've used for demo in different settings. And let me see if I can find one that'll come up pretty quickly that I know has some annotations on it. I think this math PDF does. So when I go to open it, I do a double click, or I could have done open with Read and Write for Google Chrome. When I, as the teacher, open this through the classroom submission, the student submission, I will be able to see the student's work. Even though in that quick image there, I didn't see it, I'm hoping this one has some. This was actually a math assessment that I played around with, and let's see. Yeah, I think there is some. Let's see. I can move around the page. Come on. Yeah. So here's just some things where the student had dropped in a push pin. The student had actually used Equatio to answer the questions that are here. That's our math annotation tool. Here's the student's answer that they put in here. And so I can go through as the teacher and see we used Equatio. We won't get into that, but nonetheless, the key here is here's the student's name. The student did some things. In order to see the student's work, you have to yourself open with Read and Write for Google Chrome, just like the student had to. Another little teacher tip is maybe to talk to your kids about doing their writing in blue. It might make it easier for your eyes to see their annotations, or to use a different color, and maybe your markups could be done in red, sort of thing. Because sometimes, to me, like on this text that's here, this was actually created with our math creator to respond to this math question. It tends to begin to look like the passage in my old eyes. Sometimes don't see this digitally unless it's a different color. So like if you did blue, it would kind of be representing the idea of using a blue pen for, ink sort of thing. Okay. So in a nutshell, that's it. I know it seems like, oh my gosh, how do I go back and remember all of this? She clicked around so much and did so many things. Well, the good news is everything that I've just shared with you is all right here, okay, from beginning to end. Teacher, student videos, even a full hour-long webinar, and then you're going to get the recording back of this too. I'll show you these resources right here are super helpful because they give you step by step of all of the things that I just walked you through, in case you, with pictures galore. I'm actually currently creating some resources to send to Connie that she is going to place both in your virtual learning toolbox that you have for BosierSchools.org. I think she's going to share a lot of that out with your administrators, and then hopefully some resources that you can send through sort of a parent's view of this and then a student's view of this and how they use it. You're not expected this time to be able to pick this up and 100% use it yourself, or 100% teach your kids how to use it. I can tell you the best way to get there is practice, practice, practice yourself over and over again, and use the resources that I've given you. And I say practice, 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 really just a couple of run throughs. And it's just that simple to, open it, convert it, and then annotate on it, and then use it on your side too, to be able to score and grade and all the great things you need to do with it to get the feedback, right? And then the third way to get that support is, of course, using my contact information, email, or cell number, call, text at any time. I'm more than happy to help you all out, jump on a call with you, troubleshoot, whatever we need to do. I don't want anything to be difficult for you. I'd rather head it off at the pass and say, hey, here it is. It's so simple. Let me help you get there. Or no, this didn't work because of this or that. Let's troubleshoot this. So having said that, I had us set till 12. I wrapped up about 8 minutes early. I'm happy to hang around and answer any questions, or go back over any portion of this that you need. I hope that I kept this as elementary as I could so that you understand. I'm sorry if I talked over some of you who are tech savvy and maybe have this tech knowledge, but I really like to break it down to make it basic and understandable. We have tons of resources out there. If what is shared out with you is not what you think you need, let me know. I'll send it to you in editable format, and you can tweak or change anything that I have. If you want me to create a recording to show your students how to do this, the sky's the limit. I'm all about implementing this, and my best ideas come from you teachers. So if you have any ideas and ways that the things that I'm doing can be improved, please, please, please let me know, because I always want to do my best to help you all. So with no further ado, If you need to jump off, if you've gotten the information you need, totally understand. We'll be sending out the recording. Kim, I think it'll come to you first. And then if you'll just forward that on to me, I'll work on cleaning it up. To start, you use a scanned document. Yes. The ones that I shared with you, these accessible ones and inaccessible ones, some, really the sky's the limit, and where you get PDFs could either come from Teachers Pay Teachers who share those out. It could have been a scanned piece. I have a multitude of PDFs that you can go on the web and find PDFs, but I believe, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, what I started with. I don't know if it was a scanned piece or one that I just had from the web or in a digital format already, but nonetheless, it was a PDF, which could be a scanned document. So Lisa, if I didn't answer that question, feel free to turn on your microphone and help me better understand so that I can make sure I'm answering you clearly. I'm assuming I answered that question, Lisa. So PDFs are, okay, good. PDFs are scanned documents or documents that you scan or documents that have been created. You can create a PDF digitally. Cool. Okay. Okay. Very good, Lisa. Thank you. You can create a PDF yourself simply by, I don't know if you all know this or not, but when you're in any sort of doc, like if I'm in this Google Doc here, if I go to print it, the print menu will give me the option through Google to either print it or save it as a PDF. If I save it as a PDF, it's going to be accessible, and I can do those pieces of annotations on there that I need to do. So I'm not quite sure if that one was physically scanned, is what I'm trying to get at, Lisa, or if it was created digitally as a PDF. The nice thing about a PDF is it locks the document so people can't interact with it. The main thing is you'll need to be sure that when you send it out through Google Classroom, that you have it set up to anyone with the link can view. You have it set up so your students all get their individual copies. So as you saw earlier, we aren't all working on the same one. Okay. Those are just some tidbits that are tied to Google Classroom. Okay, you're wanting to use some math pages. Perfect. Okay, your only limitation for the math pages are that, okay, Brittany, I'll get back to you in just a minute, but your limitation on the math pages is creating digital math is not easy. And so when you watched mine earlier, I was able to create the digital math with a tool that unfortunately Bossier does not have, but you can get for free as a teacher. It's called Equatio. And what Equatio does is it, instead of using standard typing letter tools, it allows you to create digital math. Let me see if I can go back to this one. So like here, if I needed to say my answer on this one was 3x squared equals 9, trying to do that superscript of that 2 to the second power that we're doing there is not easy because I don't have a key on my keyboard for those tools, like trying to do math further down here where I have my square root of and my all of my things here. For instance, I'll just show you real quick. This is just a quick demo. You can get this free for teachers, but you can't get it free for students, okay? But when I do, whoops, get this to go up. For handwriting recognition, I can simply type in what, so if the student responded to the answer and their answer was 300, whoops, I didn't do a very good job of typing in. Let me do 300, right on my screen. Ugh. 300, whoops. I'm going to get this. I made it a 2. It needs to be a 3. 362 divided by, 9x. I made that an A. I can go in and edit all of this over here. I'm not doing a very good job of showing this because I can just put it in over here. But nonetheless, whatever that formula is, or I could even come in here and I can clean that up. I also have the ability to do sort of a word prediction in this when I create my math. So I'm going to get rid of this for just a minute. So if I wanted the Pythagorean theorem, I could simply type this and it comes up and I can change out what I need these to be. Or if I wanted to work with pi, and I wanted that symbol for pi, then that will insert that math as digital math, basically. That's what Equatio does, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because I want to come back over and answer this question really quickly of Brittany, who asked where the typewriter function is and the push pin function. So those are, if you'll watch real quick, I'm going to go back to my worksheet. They're here on the end of my toolbar. You have to be in a PDF. You're not going to find the typewriter, push pin, and freehand and shapes in the doc version. Okay, so if I'm here in the doc, I don't have the ability to do that because the doc allows me to type on it all day long anyway. That's what it is, right? But in a PDF, those tools are here at the end of the toolbar. Okay, but you have to be in a PDF to see those. Does that help, ladies? I know both of you. You might have been looking at the, oh, very good, Lisa. You might have been looking at the toolbar in your doc version of the toolbar. It looks a little bit different in all places. So Brittany, do you have a microphone where you can confirm that I answered that question for you? Or can you type in and let me know? You're in a PDF and it's at the end of the toolbar. Okay. I'm not seeing you, Brittany, but I hope that I answered that question. I'm sorry if I did not. In time, I'm hoping, I see that you're still there, but maybe you're looking for it. Okay, any other questions before we wrap up? We did go straight to 12. Sorry for those of you who said I thought we'd be able to break away. But at least we got the content in with about 10 minutes to spare. Okay, I don't see any questions, so I think that we're all good to go. I'm going to jump off. You've got my information. Don't hesitate to reach out. I am here to help. Told you I'd say it lots of times. Thank you all for your participation, and I wish you all a great year. I promise you my thoughts and, more importantly, my prayers are with you all as you go into this time, and I commend you all for your hard work and efforts, and wish you all the best school year in spite of our circumstances. Hope we'll all look back on this day or this time and see it's a learning experience for us all, and brighter days are ahead. So thanks, everyone. I enjoyed my time with you. Look for the recording and these resources to come your way soon. Kim, thanks for moderating and helping me out on the backside. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.